Hi, everybody. Welcome to VMworld. It's great to be here. I hope everyone is having a good time here at the conference. My name is Vadim Vladimirsky. I am the founder and the head nerd at Nerdio. We are a virtual desktop-centric IT platform. Quick background on the company. We started out in the US as a managed services provider back in 2005, and we deployed our first infrastructure as a service offering on top of virtual infrastructure 2.5, shortly upgraded to 3.0 at the time. So we've been around the VMware stack of products for a while. Since then, our offering has evolved significantly. In 2009, we started offering hosted desktop deployments using the VMware Horizon, or at the time known as VMware View Suite. And we've done a few hundred of them for small and mid-sized companies throughout the world. And then in the last few years, we've productized this service offering to deliver it on a more sort of a SaaS productized model. So, the question that we get asked all the time is, why do so many hosted VDI implementations fail? And I think the answer is pretty simple. The question is, why is that the case? And the answer is, user experience tends to be poor. Users don't adopt the technology, the project dies, and everyone continues doing what they were doing in the past. And from our experience doing, hundreds of these deployments, what we've seen is that typically VDI is not treated, it's treated as a second-class citizen type of a project. It's used for non-core use cases for, maybe seasonal workers or remote users or branch offices, but rarely is it used as the core desktop platform for the employees of the company in the headquarters. And that leads to a few things. Number one, it leads to under-provisioned infrastructure, which obviously results in performance issues. Traditionally, storage has been a big bottleneck there, with lots of recent technologies and solid-state storage that has become less of a problem. Also, a lot of times VDI deployments are built for the administrator's convenience without really taking the user's experience in mind, and it's built to make it really easy to manage, and it's link cloned and recomposes really fast. But that leads to a very locked down user experience, and they just feel like it's a subset of what they were able to do on their physical desktop. And I think the other significant, and probably the most significant component, is the latency introduced by moving the desktops away from the servers that host the data and applications that those desktops access. And that, again, leads to poor user experience. So what we found, or what we set out to figure out a few years ago, is there really a better way to do hosted virtual desktops? And we found that you really need to think about the entire IT stack as a whole. And if you think about it, any small, mid-sized business IT environment has these 5 core pillars of IT. At the center of it is a desktop, right? That's where the user interacts with, that's where they run their applications and access their data. But there's also servers for things like Active Directory, applications and databases. There is a productivity and collaboration suite, such as Office 365 or Google G Suite. Security is obviously an extremely important component, so things like antivirus and spam protection and encryption and content filtering and firewalling and those kinds of things are part of any good IT environment. And finally, without good backup and DR, no IT system can really be complete. So by realizing that every IT environment we dealt with our customers looked kind of the same when you look at it, and these 5 components, we decided, well, what if we standardize them all? What if we build them all in a consistent way? Select best-of-breed vendors to fill in each one of these boxes. And by doing that, we were able to create the management layer that's enabled us to do a few really cool things. So first and foremost, provisioning an IT system like this for a customer that has these 5 core components end-to-end would take an engineer that is experienced, that has done a few of these in the past. It would take him about 2.5, 3 weeks of full-time work. Standing up the environment, integrating everything, provisioning things, building the group policies, Active Directory, soup to nuts was a pretty sizable project. By standardizing and automating, what we've been able to do is reduce the provisioning time of a complete end-to-end IT system that has all of these components fully integrated together down to 2 clicks and 2 hours of elapsed time with 0 engineering involvement. So you basically just launch it and it builds. And I'll show you in a minute exactly what that looks like. The other component that's been really important is this single pane of glass management portal that lets you not only manage the virtual infrastructure like the View or the Horizon View Administrator lets you do, but manage all the way up to stack into things like, making sure the antivirus is installed and adding email aliases and licensing Office 365 and integrating with Azure AD for single sign-on. So really across all of these 5 IT silos, there's single pane of glass that lets you manage them all in one place. And then finally, we've created a set of onboarding and discovery tools that automate and streamline the process of taking an existing IT environment and moving it over into the cloud, into the hosted environment. And by creating this management layer, what we've done is we enabled other service providers like we used to be to use this platform as a way to deliver their own unique set of services. So be able to take line of business application development and support and IT strategy consulting and help desk and migration services and proactive monitoring. Take those types of services that service providers are really good at, layer them on top of best of breed technologies in our management platform and deliver it as a complete IT as a service offering to their customers on a per user per month basis, very easy to budget and price for them. So let's look at how all of this actually works. So I'll just quickly walk through what a typical provisioning process that I mentioned is fully automated, what that looks like. So it starts out by some network segmentation. We segment the network into a LAN and a DMZ. We use Fortinet and their firewall appliances as the vendor of choice in this particular deployment. It also provides us with some of the unified threat management, like gateway content filtering and antivirus and IPS and things like that at the edge. So we segment the network into a LAN and a DMZ. We set up a vCenter, first of all, for the server workloads. So that's going to be on the left of that diagram, and create the resource pool for those servers. Then the very first server VM we build is the Active Directory domain controller. And this domain controller has all of the supporting services configured automatically, DNS, DHCP. It has all of the GPOs that are optimized for a hosted desktop environment already applied. It has integration with Office 365, as we'll see in just a second, configured. Then the second server we spin up is a file server. That's used as your traditional file server in SMB network environment, but also as a way of profile management, redirection of desktop and My Documents, and those types of things. And again, all of that is built automatically right out of the box. And then whatever other application servers or database servers need to be built for a particular customer environment. And then finally, we put an ADFS proxy server out in the DMZ, which is coupled with the domain controller. And what that allows us to do is integrate the environment with Office 365 and Azure AD, because most of our SMB customers do use Office 365 today, or at least are in the process of migrating to it. So now you have a fully functional AD environment that's also fully integrated with Office 365 and has single sign-on and functionality like that. Once the server side is provisioned, we move on to the desktop side. And on the desktop side, we create another firewall zone specifically to protect the desktops. And then we put up a connection manager server on the LAN. We couple that with a security gateway that resides in the DMZ to encrypt incoming desktop streaming connections using the VMware Horizon product, as I mentioned. And then we also provision the initial desktop pool that's a full clone automatic pool based on a golden image desktop that's pre-configured. It has Office pre-installed and antivirus pre-installed and some of the most common productivity tools. And then once this environment is built, right, so this is a fresh new environment built from scratch, new every time. Different encryption keys and administrator passwords are generated during provisioning time, so there's no duplication between customers. We set up a secondary data center, which is in a remote, physically, geographically remote location. We set up data replication and all of the orchestration services that enable our customers to spin up their entire environment with a single button. They can just click either a failover or a test failover button, and it will spin up their environment. If they do a test failover, it will kind of go through that same provisioning process, but with existing servers, existing desktops, and they can have their DR environment running concurrently with their production environment non-disruptively. So if they're going through an audit or they need to verify DR capabilities on a regular basis, it's a very simple operation. So this is, sort of the provisioning process that I mentioned, and doing it this way and optimizing like that has allowed us to productize our offering. And instead of making this a deployment, which is a one-off and a custom build for each and every client that we deploy, what we've been able to do is create a productized offering, which is priced similar to like Office 365 or other SaaS products, where there is a good, better, best type of an option, and it's all inclusive and priced on a per user per month basis. And includes things like the desktops, includes the server infrastructure, it includes backup and DR, it includes all of the Microsoft licensing that's necessary to put this all together, and it provides our customers, but also our service provider partners who are taking this out to their customers, a way of very easily getting into advanced cloud services, leveraging the VMware stack of products without having to build this all from scratch and create all of the automation. I think we are about out of time. I would be happy to take any questions off stage or do a demo to show you how all this works. So I'm going to be off to the side here in a couple minutes if anyone's interested in seeing more of this. Thank you very much.